So this is where we had stopped for the last time. Let us move ahead. Now the thing is that we are doing all these things to design our section, correct? And to design means that this whatever section that we are providing, it should be safe against the loading that is applied on the section. How to check if it is safe against loading that is applied? If this section that I've designed is able to resist any moment that is produced by this load, then I can say that my section is safe. Let us say if I want to find the moment at this particular section due to this loading, it will be, for this case it is VA into X, VA into this distance, okay. So this will give me the load moment, the moment that is generated because of the loading. For my section to be safe against this loading, it should it should generate equal and opposite moment so that it can react against this. That is called as reactive moment. And from where does it provide that reactive moment? From the internal strength of that material. Okay. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. So this is the action, and the reaction is generated by the section. How it is generated? As I had already told you in previous lectures, that the compressive stress will be taken entirely by concrete and the tension stress will be taken by steel. So my concrete generates a compressive force and the steel will generate a tensile force. Okay. Now you see what has happened here. It has formed a couple moment, and it is a resistive moment to this loading, and it is called as moment of resistance. So this couple that has been formed here, that it is a reactive moment to this load moment, and it is equal to that load moment, correct? Our aim is to find this moment of resistance. How to find moment of resistance? For finding that, first we'll have to find what is C and what is T. So how to find the compressive force generated by concrete and how to find tensile force generated by steel. The procedure is simple. Let us just see how we have to do it. Look at the statement, read it very carefully. The compressive force C is given by multiplying compressive stress with area of material taking compressive stress. In my previous lecture, I had told you that concrete will take purely compression, okay, and above the neutral axis we have compression, below neutral axis we have tension. So what is the area of material taking compressive stress? It is this area. This entire area is going to take only compression, nothing else. Okay, so we found one part of this statement, the area of material taking compressive stress. Let us see the similar statement for tensile force. The tensile force T is given by multiplying tensile stresses with area of material taking tensile stress, and tensile stress in concrete is ignored as it is insignificant. So again, in previous lecture I told you that even though this section lies in tension zone, but it is concrete and it is not going to take tension. The only area that is taking tension is steel, this area. Right? So again, in this statement we have found the area. Let us see what is about finding the stresses. So stresses also we have already found. This is the stress diagram that we had drawn previously. I have drawn only the top part of that stress diagram, where we see that sigma CBC is the stress at the topmost layer. But if you see this stress diagram, the stress is not constant everywhere. It is maximum at the top and zero at this point. So if I have to multiply my compressive stress with area of material, basically what I have to do is that I have to multiply this small area with this small stress, corresponding stress. Then again the next small area I have to multiply with this corresponding stress at that level. You understand? Same way, at the end what I have done, I would have multiplied this entire area with this entire area. So essentially what we are doing here is that the stress diagram is not a 2D diagram, but it is a 3D diagram. You can see this stress diagram, a triangular stress diagram, and it is spread throughout the width of the beam. So one very important thing that you need to know is stress diagram is not a 2D diagram, it's a 3D diagram. Another thing, this stress diagram which is spread across the width of the beam, it is called as stress block. Okay, it's called as stress block. The compressive force is given by the volume of this stress block. How to find volume of this stress block? It is simple, just multiply the area with the width. So what will be the area of this triangle? It is half into base into height is xu, half into base into height multiplied by b. That's it. That's your compressive force. And at what distance will it be acting? It will be acting at the centroid of the triangle xu by 3 from top, correct? So we found what is the compressive force, and even we found the point at which it will be acting. Okay? Let us talk about the tensile force. So this is the stress diagram for tension, which is below the neutral axis. And again, this stress diagram is not constant, but it is varying. But any area above this, is it going to take any tension? No, it's not going to take any tension. The only significant area which is taking tension is the steel area, and the only stress which is significant here is this stress, sigma st. Sigma st multiplied by the area of steel, that's it, you get the tensile stress or tensile force. Okay. So sigma st is the stress which is acting at the level of your steel. That multiplied by the area of the steel, you will get tensile force sigma st into ast. That's it. Okay. Now since we have found what is C and what is T, can we find moment of resistance? Yes, we can. I'll be just drawing few notations here. D, which we have already studied, is the effective depth till the layer of the steel. XU is the neutral axis depth, right? If I want to draw my C and T here, C will be acting here at a distance of xu by 3 and T will be acting at the level of steel. As I had told you that moment of resistance is nothing but the couple moment formed by this. So what I can do is that I can either take moment of C about point T, or I can, for finding moment of resistance, or for finding moment of resistance I can take moment of T about point C, and in both cases I'll have to multiply it by this distance, which is called as a lever arm. This distance is D minus xu by 3 and it is called as lever arm. Again, listen to this very carefully. For finding moment of resistance, I have two ways to find it. Either I can take moment of C about point T, or I can take moment of T about point C, and in both cases I will be multiplying it by lever arm. So MR is C into D minus xu by 3, or MR is T into D minus xu by 3. That's it. So we have found moment of resistance also. Okay. Now there is a thing which is very particular for a working stress method, that is it has design coefficients. This you will find only for working stress method generally. Basically it is found for WSM only. So how to find this design coefficients? What I am doing is that is in stress diagram I am using similarity of triangles here. Okay, sigma CBC by XU is equal to sigma ST by M divided by this distance is D minus XU. So sigma CBC upon XU is equal to sigma st by m divided by d minus xu. And by the way, I can take the similarity of triangle only because I have divided the stress in steel by modular ratio. If I had not divided by modular ratio, it would not have been, proportional to each other. It would have something like this. Correct? Yeah. So I've just simplified it here, which is m into sigma cbc into d minus xu is equal to xu into sigma st. By the way, this entire derivation can also be done using strain diagram. And I would in fact want you to do this entire derivation using strain diagram. I am using your stress diagram. You can use strain diagram also. Only thing you have to take into consideration in strain diagram is ES by EC. You will have to take it as modular ratio. We have already studied this, that modular ratio is ES by EC. And we have also studied that M is 280 by 3 sigma CBC, but that formula is only to be used for WSM. But if you are deriving this derivation using strain diagram, you have to use ES by EC as M. Fine. What my final aim here is that I want to find XU, I want to find this XU in terms of D. Basically, I want to find that how much percentage of D is my XU. Okay, so I will be separating the term XU. So M into D into sigma CBC minus M into XU into sigma CBC is equal to XU into sigma ST. I'll take all terms of XU on one side and then I'll take XU common. So XU will be M sigma CBC upon sigma ST plus M sigma CBC. The important derivation, okay, important design coefficient. The thing that you have to take into consideration is that this coefficient that we have found here, it is entirely dependent on what grade of concrete and grade of steel. Correct? Sigma CBC is dependent on grade of concrete, sigma ST is dependent on grade of steel, and M is nothing but the coefficient, right? So if I know what material I am using, which material I will be using for my design, I can find this coefficient easily, and that is the reason it is called as a coefficient, because it is not dependent on any other parameter. The material that we are using for our design, that will remain constant throughout. Okay, so this is called as K into D, where K is M sigma CBC upon sigma ST plus M sigma CBC, and it is called as neutral axis coefficient. Why? Because we are using this to find neutral axis. So see how it can be used. If I know my material that I am using and I put sigma CBC and sigma ST in this formula, I can find K and multiply it by D. Immediately I can find my neutral axis depth. Correct? So this is your first design coefficient that we have found. First design coefficient. Okay. Now see, MR is equal to C into D minus XU by 3. We just studied few moments back. I can put XU is equal to KD. I can take D common. So what I am left is it C into D into 1 minus K by 3. Look at this coefficient very carefully. Again, this entire coefficient is dependent on what material I am using. K is dependent on what material I am using. 1 minus K by 3 will also be dependent on what material I am using. So it is written as MR is equal to C into D into J, where J is 1 minus K by 3 and J is called as lever arm coefficient. Why it is called as lever arm? Because this entire term is your lever arm, isn't it? So J is 1 minus K by 3 is your lever arm coefficient. This is your second design coefficient. Third design coefficient, since we know MR is C into D into J, we just found, and C is half sigma CBC XU into B, right? This is the compressive force C. So I've just put that compressive force here. Again, this XU I can put as KD, correct? Half sigma CBC K into J into B into D square. If you look at this coefficient now, again you will see that everything is dependent on what material we are using. K is dependent, J is dependent on K, and sigma CBC also is your grade of concrete, right? So this coefficient, I'll write it as Q. Some books write it as R. It varies on authors. So QBD square, where Q is called as moment of resistance coefficient. Okay, what is the use of this? If I know what material I am using, I can find Q. I can put Q here. I can find MR, moment of resistance. You also know that moment of resistance is equal to T into D minus XU by 3. T is nothing but sigma ST into AST. MR I have already found here. Mind you, MR I have already found here. If I put this MR here, can I not find area of steel? If I'm designing a particular section, what happens in designing problems, the unknowns are basically the dimensions of the beam sometimes, and every time it is steel we have to find. Okay, steel is always the unknown in design problems. So AST can be found out as MR divided by sigma ST into JD, correct? So this is how we have to use these coefficients basically, and this is a table that I've created. Okay, this is for particular steel grade. Either it is for Fe415, Fe250. You just find it out for which steel I have prepared this table. And it is simple. You can also prepare this table in Excel. What I have done here is that this grade of concrete and permissible stresses I can get from IS 456. So I know sigma CBC. I know my sigma CBC. I can put sigma CBC here. I'll find modular ratio M. Using this M, putting it here, and sigma CBC, sigma ST, depending on for which steel. For every steel, the design table will be different. Basically, there are 3 steels only, so there will be 3 design tables. So sigma ST has to be taken for which steel it is being prepared for. You will find K, correct? From K, you can find J. From K and J and sigma CBC, you can find Q. Right? And for every grade of concrete, you can prepare this entire thing into Excel. And for each steel, there will be a separate table. So what is the use of this design table? See, it is highly useful. Let's say you are a designer that I have hired, and I want you to design a section using working stress method. I say that I want to use M40 as my concrete and Fe415 as my steel. Immediately you will see what is the Q for that. What is Q? Put Q in this. That's it. You get the moment of resistance. So in not even like half a minute, it took you just half a minute to find moment of resistance, and you saved all those calculations. So this is the use of this design chart. What I would like you to do is that you prepare this design chart for different stresses of steel, and you also derive that design coefficient using strain diagram. So that will be your task, and that's it for this particular lecture. In the next lecture, we'll be seeing more of working stress method. Till then, take care. Thank you.